For diverse American people. It's George Dallara. I want to be your next president. And I had to take a couple of days off just because I'm losing my voice. And I want to apologize to you guys because I get a little, emotional. I get a little, passion, my Latino passion. Effervesces, for lack of a better expression, and I get loud, I get expressive, and trust me, it's not me angry, it's not me being mad, it's me being Cuban, me being diverse. All of that blood that runs within your blood, that is within my blood, is what brings that passion. And because of that passion, I have currently been asking myself why I do this. You guys see it says crazy and impossible, so there's no question that I know what I'm doing and what I envision and what I have these dreams about is crazy and impossible. To think that a brown man with zero resources can even want to be the president of the United States of America, of the greatest country on the planet. I see you guys coming in. God bless you all, man. Thank you. I love you all, and that's why I do this. I keep asking myself, why do I do this? Why? And I guess it goes back to, I got to give you guys a little intel on me, on why this brown man with zero resources, not a Democrat, not a Republican, not a socialist, not a communist, an American, there I go getting passionate again, wants to be our next president. Especially thinking the kind of bee's nest and shit farm that the next president is going to have to come in and deal with. Because, we are dealing with a regime that is fueled by ignorance and hatred for fellow Americans and for humanity in general, instead of having a nation that is fueled by the beauty that it has, by the vision that the founding fathers had, flawed and screwed up as they were. I'm not claiming that they were perfect individuals by any stretch, but they had a vision of their nation being a beacon of freedom. That's it. That's the only purpose, the only motivation that these talented, creative men, writers, cobbler, shoemaker, scientist, inventor, artist, wrote a Declaration of Independence to the most powerful army on the planet, with a dictator, King George, and told him, that ain't what we want. What you offer is not what we want. We want freedom. And whether we like it or not, folks, my beautiful, diverse American people, and I see you guys coming in. I see your names. I see your beauty. I see that we have people of every nationality, of every walk of life, that make up this beautiful melting pot. And that's why I want to talk to specifically you young people, because, in many ways, this is all you guys know. You guys didn't get to live that small slice of American life where we as a nation embraced the power and strength of our democracy. We embraced the power and strength of our diversity. And we were proud to call ourselves the melting pot of the world. It was a small time in American history where we were actually working on loving each other. We were working on loving each other. Did not matter the color of your skin, did not matter your nationality, did not matter your religion, it did not matter who you were married to, who you loved, how you dressed. None of that mattered. If your hair was long, if your hair was short, none of that mattered. What mattered is that you loved this country. What mattered is that you loved freedom. And that's what made America the most powerful country in the world. And there we go. See, low vocabulary.
Trump is the best president ever.
Because they don't have the vocabulary. Decades upon decades of relentless GOP attacks on education. Because Maximilian Robespierre said, the key to ignorance is tyranny. And the key to freedom is education. And that's why you see the relentless attacks over the past 20, 30 years on education. Back to the point where a guy named Barry Goldwater, who ran for president back in the 60s, he was terrified of what would happen when the right-wing religious Christians would take hold of the Republican Party. He knew how bad it would be because he said it clearly, to govern and to lead, you have to compromise. And you can't compromise with people who think that everything they do is in the name of God. We've seen it. The Inquisition was in the name of God. The Crusades was in the name of God. The KKK was in the name of God. They carried crosses. And you see MAGA with all their crosses. So it's ignorance and hatred over love and compassion, love and intelligence. And that's what I offer you. That's the only thing that I can bring to the table. And we've never had a president who's come directly out of We the People. They've said they are for the working man, but if you are a moron who fell ass backwards into wealth and declared yourself a genius, what is that? That doesn't mean shit. Give me someone who has had to struggle their entire life to succeed, and I'll show you a leader. I'll show you someone who has the capacity and the brain power to overcome. Porque voy a hacer algo right now that's going to piss a lot of you off. Voy a cambiar entre idiomas without losing train of thought, sin cambiar el monumento de lo que estoy hablando, el momento de lo que estoy hablando. Because intelligence comes with being able to speak multiple languages and understand varios idiomas. Poder procesarlo inteligentemente at the same time that you can switch between languages. So that is not a crutch. Eso es un beneficio. That is a benefit. And that's why I say we need someone, we need a president directly out of We the People. No more corrupt billionaires. No more career politicians We need what we have never had. A regular American to rise to the presidency. And that's why I say, why do I even try this? Why would I even try? I don't have the resources. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have millions of followers. It's growing. Bass player. There you go. I'm a bass player myself. Welcome. And that's what we need. That is the talent that they fear. Bass players, guitar players, musicians, artists, poets. That's why they're going after the museums. They don't want you to think about your creative energy, your creative power, your ability to think en idiomas que ellos no entienden, in languages that they don't understand. I'm going to try to repeat everything que digo en español. Voy a repetirlo en inglés. I'm going to try to repeat everything I say in Spanish in English, so please let me know if I missed something. Déjeme saber si faltó algo. Because I want to show you que nosotros no somos el enemigo del blanco. We are not the white man's enemy. We love you. We love the American people. And you guys see, I mean, I've used this painting before. This is, I call it Bus Stop. And I posted today this great story. To me, it's irrelevant whether it's AI or written by an author or completely pulled out of thin air or real. I mean, it's irrelevant. It's the message that matters. And it's that message that I guess is why I keep doing this, because it's crazy and impossible. It's crazy and impossible to think that a poor, brown man who was solely fueled by love. By love. I love you guys. I want a nation that is by the people and for the people. Not for the corporations, not for foreign interests, not for the billionaires. For you. Because I sincerely believe that the sole purpose of government is to make the lives better of all its residents. That's it. Not to be your daddy, not to tell you who to love, not to tell you how to dress, not to tell you what religion to follow, what candidate to be a part of, what party to be a part of. Just to make the lives better of its residents. And we're not getting that. I don't think we've gotten that for a while. We've had presidents who've wanted to do that and aspired to do that. But because they've never been out of we the people, they don't understand. They've never had to go to a supermarket with $20 to feed your family of four. To put together a meal. Not for that day, for a couple of days. They don't understand that. And that's why I keep asking myself, why do I want to be president? Why would someone with no experience, no background, no political aspirations feel that you want to be the president of the greatest nation the world has ever seen? And I think it's because of how I grew up. Even though I grew out of that civil unrest of the 60s, which I was a child, but my first vivid memories instilled a love and a passion for my country that I'm not going to allow a group of beta boy ignorance tell me is not just or is not American. Death, unfortunately, forged my early memories of our political system. Because I remember like if it were yesterday. I have an idyllic memory. I remember things that happened decades ago. I remember them like they were yesterday. And I remember as a kid standing in front of our black and white television, hearing Walter Cronkite tell the nation that John F. Kennedy had been killed. That first president that I loved because my mom loved him. My mom loved John F. Kennedy. And I still have a Declaration of Independence, I think it is, that she ordered back in the day from the White House or whatever, and I have it in a cardboard roll back from 1965, 64 or whatever. So that was my first experience with the presidency and losing the president and seeing the pain and the heartbreak of this nation. And not too long after that, it happened again. His brother got killed because he wanted freedom and democracy for everyone. It got worse. The last true king this nation has really seen. The man that forged my full and devoted belief that you measure a man, a woman, by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. And that became my guide. That became my way of life. I didn't care color of people's skin. I cared about what they said, about what they did, how they behaved. And I'm going to tell you, I was, as a kid, a very, very, very shy kid. I was that original kid in the hoodie, sitting in the corner by himself from probably 4th, 5th grade through, I'd say 11th, 10th, 11th grade, where my athletic ability started to come out and open me socially because of that. But I was a shy kid. I was shy. Very intelligent, but extremely shy. To the point where I remember, I think it was probably like 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th, 5th grade. Miss Harrison was my teacher. Pretty black lady, thin, beautiful, like a model. And she loved me. She loved me. You know, she just saw something in me, I guess. But she would give us pop quizzes every so often. And I think it was the 3rd, 4th pop quiz that was kind of a hard one. But I got a 98 on it. I missed two answers. And unbeknownst to me, those 2 answers that I marked wrong on purpose. Because I do that. I was so shy that I would purposefully mark wrong answers on quizzes and tests to not have a perfect score. Because I didn't want to be singled out. It would embarrass me to death to be singled out or to be praised or whatever. It was terrifying to me. I didn't want to. So I would miss answers on purpose. And Miss Harrison called me on it. After that quiz, she said, "What happened?" I go, what do you mean? I didn't know. And played the fool. She said, you missed 2 answers that I know you know the answers to. What's going on? I don't think I ever really confessed. I said that I probably just made up an excuse. But the point is that I'm not someone who's ever seeked the sky, the limelight. I've never seeked to be a leader. The closest I ever got to being the leader of anything was that I was captain of the patrols. I think it was in 6th grade. And I was elected captain of the patrols. Actually named the captain of the patrols by the PE coach who, ran the patrols, the safety patrols, and I was the captain. And then I was removed as captain in what can only be described as a coup by a more popular boy that was, I guess, the handsome, pretty boy at the time of the class, and I was the weird, dark nerd. So I was brought down. I was demoted to sergeant. And eventually I just lost interest and never became a patrol or anything remotely close to that again. On the contrary, I became an artist and a partier and enjoyed life. And to my demise and to my, hardship, becoming rich was never my driving force. Creating art, that making something out of nothing, was always my ultimate challenge. Be it in sports, where I was a nothing little athlete, well, not little because I'm decent size, but just someone who started late. I didn't play baseball till I was like 12, 13 years old, where kids start at 4 and 5. I started late, but I got to play within the college program that I went to. I tried out for major league teams. I tried out for the Pan Am teams. Always one of those last cuts, one of those interesting, but just not quite what they were looking for, players, athletes, whatever. But it never stopped me. And a shout out to my brothers in the South Florida Baseball League, who I played for probably over 30 years, and all the amateur leagues in South Florida, and that brotherhood of talented, good men that make up the South Florida Baseball League and the amateur baseball leagues across the country, that allowed me to play for over 40 years and become one of the top, most respected players in that small group of several thousand men who play baseball at a high amateur level. And beyond that, I published my book, Baseball Artistry. I created a TV show down in Miami-Dade, which if you look for my regular YouTube page, you'll see some of the episodes posted there. It's called Baseball on Canvas, where I coach kids using my art and my creative talents to inspire them and to coach them and to teach them the proper forms and mechanisms on how to play the game of baseball. So my entire life has been driven by doing good for others. That's the only thing that has ever driven me. Doing good for others. And that's when it all comes back full circle, and I answer that question that I said earlier as to why am I doing this? Why would a brown, poor, marginally educated, marginally successful, marginally healthy, communicative, talented, a living individual want to be the president of a nation that is obviously going through something, going through an identity problem, that part of it wants to regress and embrace ignorance and hatred towards others against a backdrop and a forefather written constitution that empowers the people. Not billionaires, not millionaires, not politicians, not judges, not senators, not congresses, but the people through the vote. And that, again, brings it back full circle to the cheating, because I'm not going to call it redistricting when it is clearly cheating. I worked for the Census Bureau, okay, for years. Redistricting is done after a census. All these people say, well, these places where there are no more Republican seats, that's because the census and the population required that, determined that. Not a beta boy bitch in the White House who doesn't want to lose something that they somehow got control of, because I'm not convinced. Thank Elon for knowing the voting machines was not a compliment, but what I call a Freudian brag confession. And we're seeing it. It's you know, the wheels of justice run slow, but they run. So that's why, again, I gotta continue to do this. That is why I wake up in the morning and I ask myself, why would someone with zero resources and a crazy and impossible dream to be the first president that, number one, represents every American by blood, by my DNA, that proves that I'm white, black, Latino, Native, European, South American, Central American, Middle Eastern, Native. It is in my DNA, which I will post and make available for everyone. So that's number one. And number two, be the first president ever who is directly out of We the People. We've never had a president directly out of We the People. Every president our nation has had until the current one have been great men who served this country honorably as military heroes, as governors, as leaders, with backings, built-in backings. Because even, you know, you might say Ronald Reagan was the last real man of the people, because he wasn't a politician until he became governor, but he was just an actor. Just an actor. But he wasn't just out of We the People, like someone like myself would be, like someone like your dad would be, like someone like your uncle, your grandfather, your grandmother, your mom, your sister would be. These people all had a built-in following. They already had millions of votes regardless. Like the Orange Turd said, he could shoot somebody on Madison Avenue and he would not lose any votes. That's where every president has started from. I don't have that. I don't have the money to buy airtime. I'm not going to pay TikTok or Facebook or any of these social medias to promote my words. It's up to you. It's up to you. We, the people, are the only ones who can elevate the voices of real Americans, the hearts of real Americans. Those are the only ones. Those are the only ones. You are the only ones who can put a president for you. A president who is by the people and for the people. So, that is the answer that I give myself. I believe I grew up with the little stories of the little engine that could, with that little small ant who built the rubber tree or whatever. That innate talent and desire and need that every artist has, that every artist wakes up with, that need to create something out of nothing. That is what you do when you start with a blank canvas. That's what you do when that idea formulates in your head, when you dream those recurring dreams that you wake up not really understanding why you're getting that dream or why. Because throughout history, we've known that great things have come from independent voices and independent people who received these messages somehow, somewhere. Be it the quantum visions of my website and that you see in my art, or the stories of just real life, because even this behind me is full of messaging, the one-way road, the one-way street. The elderly guy speaking with each other. The older guy leaning back, smoking his cigar, absorbing what the gentleman is telling him, who's reaching out to the young man staring out into space, wondering what life brings. And the kitty, just wanting attention, just wanting to be caressed, just wanting to be loved with his tail up in the air. Because the messages matter. And that message that I posted earlier about the story of the bus bench and the gentleman who put the little note for the kids to contact and to reach him and to speak to him, that is why I do this. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you guys. Because I love every single one of you. I don't know you. I don't have to know you to love you. Why would I not love you? Never done anything bad to me. Even those little betas that reach out and Donald Trump is the best president ever. And whites are better than everybody else. I see them. I see the posts come up. You got it, brother. You know, we are all human. That's it. 99.9999% of our DNA is identical. That one little minute difference is what decides our skin color. That's it. But what really separates us is our love for each other. We've seen worldwide governance of ignorance and hatred destroy countries, destroy lives, destroy progress, destroy everything it touches. And we've seen governance of love and intelligence blossom and create generational happiness. Generational wealth is great, it's nice. But generational happiness is what the founding fathers put into their documents. The right to pursue happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Simple. So we need to get back to that. We need a president who is directly out of we the people. And here is where my emotion begins to crank up. That diverse natural talent that is within me, that is within you, that is within your children, that they fear most. Because what they fear most are women. I was raised by alpha women. If you follow my videos, you will hear the story of my alpha grandmother. And that is what we need. We don't need betas who are going to lay out red carpets for dictators and murderers who go back to destroying and murdering innocent women and children after that treatment, and ignore the world leaders who are after love and intelligence and peace, and treat them like just the people from the supermarket that you don't know. We need leadership. We need cojones. Not beta boy cowardness that fears everything, beginning with our women. Who treated me justly, sir? My mother. My family, my grandmother, my friends, the guys in my baseball team, the guys on my baseball league, the guys who I have worked for, the women who I have sacrificed for, those who I feel treat me justly. Because in general, no, America has not treated me justly. I've had to scratch, claw, and fight. Since the age of 8, 9 years old, I had to fight every day. Every day I had to fight. And sadly, I grew up in a little enclave of the Cuban community. To this day, it is a 98, 99% Cuban community in my little town. And the people who I fought the most with were Cubans. White Cubans who would say that I couldn't be Cuban because of my black, long, straight hair and my dark brown skin. I couldn't be Cuban. In reality, I'm more Cuban than any of them ever were, because my roots trace to the history, to the natives of the island, the Taínos, which populated all of southeastern United States into the Caribbean. I am Cuban. I'm Cuban heritage. I was born in New York, in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx, and then grew up in Miami, in Hialeah. Mujeres, fango y factoría was the tagline for Hialeah. Women, mud, and factories. There are still beautiful women in Hialeah. The mud has been pretty much cleaned up. We had a mayor who was kind of corrupt, but really did a lot for the city and put in all the roads and the sewers. Raul Martinez. And the factories are all gone. There are no factories in Hialeah. There are no factories in Hialeah. And sadly, the original Cuban population is not there. You know, I talk about the original Cuban exiles who, you know, bless their hearts, they voted Republican out of a delusional, misguided idea that Kennedy was going to go back the failed Bay of Pigs invasion, which was poorly planned, poorly conceived, was never going to have any kind of success. And they all failed, you know, within 20 minutes. And in their minds, Kennedy betrayed them because he was supposed to back them up. And I said it before, if there was any conversation, I'm sure it went, if the operation succeeds, we'll come and back you up. But there was never any, consideration that if they failed, they were going to come and expose their nation to a nuclear war against Russia. So, like I said, their hearts were in the right place. They wanted to free their nation, but it was a poor. But the point is that the Cuban exiles voted Republican because of that. That's it. Even though they all received Social Security and benefits and the Cuban laws to give them benefits and things that I, as a born American, never really had opportunity to get, because they got food stamps, they got checks, they got help in establishing themselves in this new country that the majority of them never got. All of us, I know, Sebastian, and I'm not saying all of you, and I'm not saying all the Cubans did that. The vast majority did not. I love my Cuban culture, and Cuba was never the racist country that kind of grew in the Cuban community in the U.S. And it wasn't that they wanted to be racist; it's that they saw the horrible treatment of people who weren't white. So the natural response is going to be, hey, if I'm going to be closer to the people getting treated and abused, I'm going to go and try to be closer to the people that are not being mistreated and abused. So it's a tough choice. So trust me, I'm not talking bad about all Cubans. It's not all of them. In fact, my family, my brothers and sisters are still in Hialeah and are still in Miami and are my brothers and sisters. And like I said earlier about the South Florida Baseball League, those are my brothers. Getting back to myself, I was an only child. I grew up by myself. A strange, dark-skinned kid who was constantly just doodling and drawing on my notebooks. Every white space of every book, of every textbook, of every notebook was doodled with art and creations, and then cartoons and vans, because I loved custom vans. So every ounce of every corner of everything of mine was drawn. I had a room as a teenager that every corner, there was no white space. It was all posters and art and stuff stuck to the walls and roof, and just creativity was my sole fuel. And I was that kid since I was an only child. What I wanted most always was a family, a big family. I grew up without a dad. My dad disappeared, served in the U.S. Army, disappeared. I'm working as a contractor for the military. The only thing I was ever able to get was confirmation that he served, that he was honorably discharged, and then, oddly, they volunteered that any additional records of his service burned up in a base fire. So, any question to my being an American can stop right there, because I've paid the ultimate sacrifice. I grew up without my father for whatever reason. So, I grew up as that kid that just saw injustice and saw right and wrong clearly. In that little town where I grew up, there was one park, Walker Park, where everybody would go, all the kids, all the teenagers, everybody would go, hang out at the basketball courts. We played basketball day and night, from sun up till the lights were down. There was somebody out there playing basketball 24/7. It was also the center of all the neighborhood malevolence, all the break-ins, all the theft, all the drugs, all the weed, all the quaaludes, all whatever was going around at the time was seeded out of that park. So all the malevolence came out of there. And those were my buddies. Those were my friends. These are the kids that I've known since kindergarten. We go to school together. We grew up together. But I remember clearly where we'd be playing basketball and, taking a break after a game and, guys were talking. Well, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to go break into that house over there. And I'd say, well, okay, I'm going to go home and have a sandwich. And they'd go out and do whatever they were going to do. I'd go home and eat my sandwich. Later that afternoon or the next day, we'd all be back together playing at basketball again, hanging out, doing whatever we did. I knew that I was not going to go break into somebody's house. I mean, those were my friends. But I knew right from wrong. I made the choice to go home and eat a sandwich instead of breaking into somebody's house. And that is where I think we've kind of lost our way. We don't see right and wrong anymore. That line has been blurred by ignorance and hatred. And we need to put an end to that. So, the way we do that is to bring people out of we the people. We need a president directly out of we the people. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a libertarian. I'm an American. And I don't care which mechanism we need to put we the people back in charge. Because as far as I know and as far as I can read, it says we the people. Does not say we the billionaires, does not say we the Christians, does not say we the white people, does not say we the rich, does not say we the property owners. It says we the people. And even though they weren't thinking of us and couldn't think of us at the time, in their vast brilliance, because that's the only word that can explain it. Not justifying them, not justifying what they did, but in their vast brilliance, they put we the people bigger than anything else on the document. That wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't a sentence starter. That wasn't to make the document look pretty. It was because they knew the power and strength of their democratic constitutional republic was in we the people. That's it. Freedom was their only motivation. So we need to get back to that. We need what we've never had. We need a president directly out of we the people. We need a president directly out of we the people. What's up, Aaron? I love you, brother. I love your work. I love what you do. Because this is what is America. We the people are the rightful masters of both the courts and the Congress, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who would pervert our Constitution. Abraham Lincoln. And we are beyond perverting. We are in outright disrespect and shredding of our Constitution. There you go. Another lack of vocabulary. User 90. Oh, I think this is the same one.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. That's all I can say is blah, 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 because that's the extent of my vocabulary. I'm a beta. I'm a beta follower.
There it is. You guys see it. Blah, blah, blah. I am going to enjoy the next 3 years. You know why? Because we're going to assert we the people. And I parrot that right back to you. Enjoy the next 3 years. Enjoy ignorance and hatred. Enjoy governance led and fueled by ignorance and hatred for fellow Americans, for the people that pick your food, for the people that slice your meat, for the people that do your laundry, for the people that fix your roads, that build your houses, for the people that have built this country. Enjoy the next 3 years of ignorance and hatred towards them, because we're coming. We're coming. Gen X Alliance is coming, is growing, and it's a we the people from every walk of life. No, you're not. You're not what, baby? We're not little barking chihuahua. What? What are you trying to say? Use your words.
No, you're not. No, you're not what? You little barky chihuahua. 90990406321.
User, because doesn't even have the courage to put a face or to put a name or to put something creative or to put a message. That's what we're dealing with, folks. Decades upon decades of relentless attacks on education. And you see it happening in the Smithsonian. They want to remove history. It is a fantasy world, bro. It is a fantasy world. It's a fantasy of a beautiful democratic constitutional republic. That's what the founding fathers envisioned, a fantasy world where freedom and democracy and the right to pursue happiness was the governing, was the driving force. Of course it's a fantasy world. Who the fuck wants to live in reality? In this reality of ignorance and hatred. So yeah, absolutely, it is a fantasy. I know you're very happy. There's a saying that says ignorance is bliss, and you are the picture of it, bro. Don't know if you're a man, don't know if you're a woman, don't know if you're an it, if you're a bot, if you're a Russian troll, which you probably are. But I know you're very happy, and you should be. Doesn't take much intelligence to be happy. You don't stay up at night. You have no conscience. You don't want a president to make your life better. You're the type that wants a president to make the lives of others worse because you're done. You've peaked. You can do no better than what you are right now. A sniveling little beta boy barking chihuahua. A barking poodle. A barking terrier. Or pick a dog. You don't need a face. Of course you don't. Cowards never do. Cowards hide behind masks and abduct little girls from the streets. That's what cowards do. They don't need a face. Because they all have the same face. It's the face of ignorance and hatred for fellow human beings that drives you. So God bless you guys. God bless the American people. And I'm going to say it again. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't. I know. But I know that I'm going to continue to do it. And I know that one small voice can lead a movement, can make the world a better place. And that's all I want. I assure you that the $400,000 a year salary that the president makes will be the best motherfucking job I've ever had the opportunity to earn by at least $350,000. All right? Right off the bat. So I don't need to make any more money than that. I'm happy with the $400,000 a year salary. And because it is the best fucking job I've ever had, I'm going to work like it's the best fucking job I've ever had. And that's what we need. We don't need someone who knows that they're going to steal billions and grift billions. So they're going to give away, donate to charity, the mere $400,000 because I'm grifting billions. I have no interest in that. I have no interest in wealth. I have an interest in love for you, the American people. I have an interest in love for my country, for that fantasy idea of a nation built on freedom that the founding fathers had for their nation. Because that's all they wanted. They didn't set out to build a Christian nation. They didn't set out to build a white nation. They set out to build a nation built on freedom to be a Christian. Freedom to pursue happiness how you choose, not how a government chooses. So we need to end this a golden age of ignorance and hatred, this big government takeover of our cities, of our townships, which is basically martial law light, because their goal is to postpone the midterm elections because they know they can't win it. They know they cannot win it. Thank Elon for knowing the voting machines was not a compliment. Was a Freudian brag confession. And I'm going to keep watching Martin Luther King, because that is what we're lost. That's what we lost, that message. That we need to value the content of character, not the color of skin. So no, I'm not going to stop watching Martin Luther King videos. In fact, I'm going to watch more of them. Because that is leadership. Not the beta boy bitches who are afraid of women above all, and everybody that does not look and sound like them.
Well, I can sound like you, Bubba. I knows I can.
But I don't think like you. Yo hablo múltiples idiomas. I speak multiple languages. Yo puedo pensar, I can think in both languages, en los dos idiomas, y no cambiar, y no perder, not change, or not lose a train of thought by what I'm saying, de lo que estoy diciendo. You can't do that. I know a lot of you can. And that is the remarkable, beautiful American, talented diversity that these little beta boy bitches fear most. So we are going to watch Martin Luther King videos. We are going to watch movies like Robin Williams in A Man of the Year, where he talks about the value of a true president and what a true president should be. We need a president that's by and for the people, not by and for governments and by and for corporations and by and for the billionaires. We need what we've never had. A president directly out of we the people. So why not? Doesn't have to be me. Okay, little Russian bot, I know intelligence bores you. It's too many big words for you to process. I know, Bobby, I know. Go bark somewhere else. Why are you still here then? If I bore you, why do you stay? Because you know I'm right. Even though your little ignorant brain is fighting the content, you're still here. You're still listening. Because you know that the governance of ignorance and hatred is never going to overcome love and intelligence. It's not. You're having your moments. Enjoy your next 3 years or year and a half. If democracy is protected. Because we the people means we the people. Find somebody. Doesn't have to be me. Find a real American. Someone you trust. Someone you love. Someone who knows, who you know has the value. The heart to lead. You don't have to be intelligent. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be a tech genius. All you have to do is know right and wrong. And if your decisions are governed by love and intelligence, it's going to benefit everyone around you. Because we don't need a country that is rich. We need a country that is prosperous. And the prosperity of a nation is measured in the lack of hunger, the lack of ignorance, the lack of poverty, the lack of homelessness. Because they're bragging about Washington, D.C. making 400 arrests overnight. All right. How many of those arrests are veterans that your system put there? How many of those are folks who had to leave the treatment centers because you defunded them and closed them and had nowhere else to go? How many of those are abandoned Americans by a system that put profit over people? They're not telling you that. They don't want you to know that. They want you to hear the ignorance, the hatred, the fear-mongering, because that is where their money is. We the people. I love you. Even little user 99, I love you, brother. I love you because it's like that little barking dog. You can't hate the little barking dog. It doesn't know any better. It's been weaponized against itself through ignorance and hatred, through decades upon decades of ignorance and hatred. So you fear women. That's who you fear most. Women. Every one of these laws, everything they're doing, the bottom line, the redeeming value is to subjugate women and to control women. That's why when I'm president, I'm going to have a cabinet of women. I want alpha women to lead this country. I'm going to surround myself with alpha women just to make all these beta boys suffer. I want the top women in the country. Because that is what they fear most. And because we need what we've never had. And that is leadership through love and intelligence. We've never had a president directly out of we the people. We've had military leaders, we've had business leaders, we've had beta boy bitches who fell ass backwards into wealth and declared their self geniuses, take control. But we've never had a president directly out of we the people. Well, it's time. It's time to get your mom to step forth. It's time to get your grandmother to step forward. It's time to get your uncle, your dad, your grandfather. We the people. Thank you, TikTok, for filtering out the morons and the cowards and the traitors. But let them through. We do not fear cowardice. I do not fear cowardice. In fact, I want to hear them. I want America and the world to hear them. Because that's the only way we're going to overcome them. Hatred for what, Bobby? For ignorance? That's the only thing I hate. Ignorance and hatred, brother. I hate ignorance and hatred. God bless you. God bless the American people. We are the government. Not a president, not a senator, not a Congress. The people. We are the government. We are the people. Not a billionaire. Not a group of beta boy bitches. We the people. God bless you guys. God bless America. God bless you, every single one of you. I love every single one of you. Bro, look, I don't hate anybody. That is the exact message I'm saying, Swed Rock. I don't hate anybody, brother. I cannot hate anybody because I have all of you in my DNA. My DNA proves that I'm white, black, Latino, Native, European, South American, Central American, Caribbean, Iberian, Middle Eastern. It's in my DNA, so I can't hate anybody. I hate ignorance. I hate beta boy bitches who think they're better than the rest of us, when my DNA proves that I'm better than all of them. Because I'm 65 years old and I can hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. That sweat, Brock, I know you can't. I know you can't. And if you want proof, put your money where your mouth is. We'll arrange a live demonstration to show you what I am and who I am. James Bullitt, that makes 0 sense. That is not just stupid, that's Trump stupid. It's not who you are that makes you get hate, it's who you vote for in exchange for freebies. What the fuck does that mean, James? Are you sucking down that Kool-Aid? You sucking on that orange little micro-afflicted thing? Because that makes no sense. Nobody wants freebies, brother. People want to earn what they get. You might want freebies, but I assure you that the vast majority of immigrants don't want shit for free. Don't want shit for free. They come to work. They come to earn. They come to build this country because, as far as I know, the railroads were built by immigrants. The high-rises have been built by immigrants. The roads have been built by immigrants in this nation. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about wanting freebies. We want freedom. That's it. We want freedom. Freedom to live your life how you want. And that's all I want. That's all I think a president should do. That's all I think a government should do, is make the lives better of its residents. Not be your daddy. Not tell you who to vote for. Not tell you who to love, how to dress, what church to go to. That's not government's job. We the people. Crazy and impossible. This is crazy and impossible that a brown man, I am George Delara, I want to be your next president. I don't know why. I don't have the experience on the international scale. I have common sense. I have the intelligence to surround myself with alpha women and eliminate all the beta bitches. That's how we succeed, by listening and modeling after the nations that use intelligence and love rather than ignorance and hatred for fellow humanity. We need a president out of we the people. We've never had a president out of we the people. So why not? Why not now? There you go. 2 words. White on. The fuck is that? That's what we're up against, folks. Little 2 words.
Trump is the best.
I've been here for probably an hour just spilling my heart to you. I love you. I love you. I love my country. And that's the only reason I do this. I don't want profit. I don't want wealth. I don't want anything other than to know that our future is in the hands of we the people, not billionaires. We've seen what they do. They have no interest in making your life better. They only have interest in profit. That's it. That's how they get this dumbass, by telling him, oh, you're going to make so much money. You're going to make so much money. You're going to be so rich. You're going to be so rich. That's all they understand. Everything is transactional. There is no other motive. There is no other reason. Well, my reason is love. My reason is you, the American people. God bless you guys. This has gone way too long. I love you. We the people. I'm George Delara. I want to be your next president. I don't know why. But I keep dreaming about it. I keep thinking about it. I keep thinking that we, the people, can do better than what we're seeing. I know we, the people, have more love and more intelligence in our hearts and in our brains than the little betas, driven by ignorance, hatred, and greed, because let's not, ignore that, who have taken over our country. So let's take our country to be the founding fathers' vision of a beacon of freedom and democracy. And that's all they wanted, freedom. That's it. God bless you guys. I'm George Delata. I want to be your next president. Like, share, spread, because the algorithm is not going to do it. The oligarchs that own these social media platforms aren't going to do it. It's up to you, the people, we the people, to spread the voices of independent Americans, to spread the voices of love and intelligence over ignorance and hatred for fellow Americans. So I love you all. I love you all. God bless you.